फिर तद उपश्रुत्य नाभासी केचरनां प्रजल्पतं सती दक्षायनी देवी पितृयज्ञमहोत्सवम् तद उपश्रुत्य नाभासी केचरनां प्रजापतां सती दक्षायनी देवी पितृयज्ञमहोत्सवम् व्रजन्ति हि सर्वत दिग्भया अवदेव वरास्त्रिया विमानयदना स प्रेष्ठ निशाकाण्ठी सुवासः दृष्ट्वा सुनिलभ्यास्य लोलाक्षीर्मृत्यकुण्डल पतिं भूतपतिं देवम् आतुष्याद् अभयाभसत्. Anyone would like to repeat? तद उपश्रुत्य नाभासी क्रेचरनां प्रजाल्पताम् सती दक्षायिनी देवी पितृयज्ञमहोत्सवम् व्रजन्ति सर्वतो दिग्भ्या उपदेव वरास्त्रिया विमानासानया प्रेष्ठा निष्काकाण्ठी सुवाससा दृष्ट्वा सा नीलभ्यासे लोलाक्षीर्मृत्सकुण्डला पतिं भूता पतिं देवम् औतु सूक्ष्यात् अभयाभस्ता. तद उपश्रुत्य नाभासी सती दाक्षायिनी देवी पितृयज्ञमहोत्सवम् सर्वतो दिग्भ्याम् तदुपश्रुत्य नाभासी केचरनां प्रजापतम् सती दक्षायिनी देवी पितृयज्ञेन महोत्सवम् व्रजनाति सर्वतो दिग्भ्या उपदेवा वरास्त्रिया Kundala Patim Bhuta Patim Devam Sukya Abhaya Sita. Anyone from Mataji's? Tad upashritya nabhasi Kecharanam prajalpatam Sati Dakshayini Devi Pitrayagya Mahotsavam Rajanti Sarvato Digbya Upadeva Varastriya Vimanayanasa Prestha Diksha Kanti Suvasasa Vishwasa Nilavyabhase Dolakshi Mritsa Kundala Patim Devam Autsukyat Abhyasata. Tad upashritanabhasi Kecharanam prajalpatam Ayani Devi Pitrayagya Mahotsavam Subhasasa Yamyase Tad then Upashritya hearing Nabhasi in the sky K Charanam of those who are flying in the air, the Gandharvas. Prajalpatam, the conversation. Sati, Dakshahini, the daughter of Daksha. Devi, the wife of Shiva. Pitra Yagnya Maha Utsavam, the great festival of sacrifice performed by her father. Prajapati. Rajanti were going. Sarvata, from all. Digbhaya, directions. Upadeva Varastriya, the beautiful wives of the demigods. Vimana Yana, flying in their airplanes. Sapreshta, along with their husbands. Nishkakantihi, having nice necklaces with lockets. Suvasasaha, dressed in fine clothing. Drishtva, seeing. Swanilaya Abhase, near her residence. Loka Akshata, having beautiful glittering eyes. Mrita Kundale, nice earrings. Patim, her husband. Bhuta Patim, the master of the Bhutas. Devam, the demigods. Atsukyat, from great anxiety. Abhyabhashita, she spoke. The chaste lady Sati, the daughter of Daksha, heard the heavenly denizens flying in the sky, conversing about the great sacrifice being performed by her father. When she saw that from all directions, the beautiful wives of the heavenly denizens, their eyes were beautifully glittering, where, were near her residence and were going to the sacrifice dressed in fine clothing and ornamented with earrings and necklaces with lockets. She approached her husband, the master of the Bhutas, in great anxiety and spoke as follows. It appears that the residence of Lord Shiva was not on this planet, but somewhere in outer space. Otherwise, how could Sati have seen the airplanes coming from different directions towards this planet and heard the passengers talking about the great sacrifice being performed by Daksh? Sati is described here as Dakshayani because she was the daughter of Daksha. The mention of Upadeva Vara refers to inferior demigods like the Gandharvas, Kinnaras, and Uragas, who are not exactly demigods, but between the demigods and the human beings. They were also coming in planes. The word Swarnilabhaya She indicates that they were passing right near her residential quarters. The dresses and bodily features of the wives of heavenly denizens are very nicely described here. Their eyes moved, their earrings and their ornaments glittered and glared. Their dresses were the nicest possible, and all of them had special lockets on their necklace. Each woman was accompanied by her husband. Thus they looked so beautiful that Sati, Dakshayani, was impelled to dress similarly and go to the sacrifice with her husband. That is the natural inclination of a woman. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming. All of you who are coming to the temple for the first time, we welcome you to Shri Shri Radha Gopinath temple, and we pray to Radha Gopinath that you keep coming and that may the Lord shower his blessings onto you. So we're discussing a history from Srimad Bhagavatam, where the chapter of Prajapati Daksh, who is one of the who's a devotee of the Supreme Lord, but in Bhagavatam there is a mention of devotees in Satagun, Rajagun and Tamagun. These three are modes. Basically, Satagun is the mode of goodness, Rajagun is the mode of passion, and Tamagun is the mode of ignorance. So all the living entities are continuously tormented and tossed around these three modes of material nature, whereas the Supreme Lord is untouched and he's the creator of these modes. So the living entities, the conditioned souls who are under the spell of Maya, they are constantly under the mode of goodness. Mode of goodness resembles and resounds with godly and divine activities, whereas passion is intensity, something intense desires and intense hard work to do something that comes in the mode of passion. And ignorance is delusion is in ignorance, or for example, oversleeping is lethargy is in the mode of ignorance. Arrogance, pride are some qualities of the mode of ignorance. So we see that Prajapati Daksh, although he's a devotee of the Lord, but he's doing bhakti in the mode of ignorance, and he's by his example he's showing what not to be. So in this history so far, we've discussed that how there was a great yajna conducted in the, I think it was conducted in the heavenly planets, and everyone was invited. So was Prajapati Daksh, and so was Lord Shiva. And when Prajapati Daksh entered the fire sacrifice, all the demigods rose up in his honor, but Brahma, being the father, and Lord Shiva, because he was in trance, he was in meditation, he did not notice Daksha's arrival, and he did not get up. Daksha, when he sees this, that Lord Shiva, being his son-in-law, because he was in the Dehatma Buddhi, he was in the bodily platform, he thought that because my daughter is married to Lord Shiva, Sati is married to Lord Shiva is my son-in-law, therefore he is supposed to stand. And so he starts criticizing Lord Shiva in that public atmosphere, and he criticizes Lord Shiva, says that he's Markata Lochana, he's the person with monkey-like eyes, whereas my daughter is Kamala Nayana, whose eyes are like lotus petals. I don't know why did I approve this marriage and started blaspheming Lord Shiva and saying that he does not know the code of conduct and he does not know the discipline and how to act in a civilized way, the way of dressing and everything. Seeing this, Lord Shiva's associates, Nandi, Bringi Adi, they started cursing back, whereas associates of Daksha like Phrigu started counter cursing. Seeing this, Lord Shiva thought that it's not just and um, it's not appropriate for such an event to take place in such an auspicious time. Lord Shiva got up and he exited. Daksha, taking this as an offense, he conducts a great sacrifice where he calls everyone from the heavenly planets except her daughter Sati and his son-in-law Lord Shiva. So now when Sati sees all the demigods and all the Gandharvas and Yakshas just flying through her residence, she's listening to them talking about the great sacrifice which Prajapati Daksha has organized, and she desires to go there, and she converses with Lord Shiva. So we're reading this shloka from Canto 4, Chapter 3, where Sati sees the demigods going to Daksha's yajna, and she beseeches her husband to let her go, and tells him that my father has organized this great sacrifice, and we should all go. We should go, and I'm her daughter, so I'm his daughter, so we should go. So that's as far as the history is concerned. That's the basic storyline we're discussing of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Radhanath Swami Maharaj, once when he was in his college preaching, Radhanath Swami is one of the spiritual masters in our line. So when he was in his college preaching, he went to a college where he wanted to preach Krishna consciousness, but the professors said that we are quite favorable to the philosophy you are preaching, but it's just that the head of the religious studies, he's a devout Christian, and you have to convince him if you actually have to come and give classes. Otherwise, according to the college policy, you cannot give any religious lectures unless and until it's approved by the professor of religious studies. So Maharaj goes to that professor and he proposes this idea of Krishna consciousness and Gaudiya Vaishnavism and everything. And that devout Christian, he was also at a high position at the local church. So he said no, that any religion except Christianity won't be allowed to openly be preached in the college. So Maharaj, and he said that I don't find your religion authentic. I don't find Hinduism or I don't find Vaishnavism authentic. So Maharaj said that I'm ready for a conversation if you feel like. So the professor says, I'm too busy today. Come. He gives Maharaj a date and says that come next week, Sunday, we'll talk. So Maharaj goes there and he sees that this professor is lying naked on the table. It's like a low bench table, and he's lying naked on the table. And just like how and he had like a sun globe or a sunlight. Sun globe is basically a lamp with artificial sunlight, which helps. How usually Indians are obsessed with white skin. The white skin people are obsessed with the darkish tone. So they think that the darkish tone is what's attractive. So he was kind of sunbathing on that bench, and he said that I'm open for the debate. So propose your Krishna conscious philosophy. And Maharaj was in an awkward position. He said it's kind of difficult to focus like this. Do you mind sitting up and getting dressed, and then we can have a conversation? And the person said, no, I'm comfortable. You can say whatever you have to say. So Maharaj gave arguments. This person gave arguments, and the conversation went to and fro. And after a certain point, this person, after his class, after listening to Maharaj's points, he said, I want to share something with you. To be honest, there is no God. The Christian pastor said that there is no God, and Maharaj said, "Are you sure? Because you seem to be a pretty devout Christian, and you seem to be propagating Christianity with a lot of determination." So he said, "In the position which I am, and in the church when I have to go and give sermons, I say that, but internally I know that there is no God." So I'm raising this point because that, and then he ultimately said that because there is no God, it doesn't matter what philosophy you are preaching. So you can preach the philosophy in the college if you want. And Maharaj was happy because he got the permission to take the classes and do what he wanted. But Maharaj points out that this is actually a point. This is a person might be very devout and might be very forceful in his preaching, but all of it narrows down to what determination and what enthusiasm he has for the path of spirituality. Jesus Christ says that if you're cold, I'll accept you. If you're hot, I'll accept you. But if you're lukewarm, I'll reject you. That means that if someone believes that there's no God, Krishna still accepts him. If someone believes that there is God with 100% conviction, God accepts them. But if someone's doubtful, even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that doubt is what is the biggest hindrance in a path of a sadhaka. So if you're lukewarm, as in if you're doubtful, because you're almost there in your spiritual journey, but somewhere you get this doubt that maybe God doesn't exist, or maybe whatever the shastras, the sadhus, and Guru says, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. So that maybe word is very dangerous. So if you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out. So that's the point, being that we have to have that conviction. And how do we have that conviction? When we hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Shrunvatam sukatha krishnam, krinvatam suchiteshtam, kalena titirkena, bhagavan vishate niti. That listening, Krishna, in Bhagavatam there is this shlok that pravishta karna randhrena swana bhavasroham, that Krishna enters our heart through our ears. So when we listen to Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna's pastimes, Krishna enters our heart. Pravishta karna randhrena swana bhavasroham, dhunoti shamalam Krishna. And what does he do once he enters the heart? Dhunoti, he starts cleaning. Dhunoti shamalam Krishna shalil yase yathasharat. And he cleanses our heart from all the anarthas, and he gives us the pure love of Godhead. And now, when we say Bhagavatam, this verse in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita comes. Krishna tulya Bhagavat vibhu sarva shray prati shloki prate akshar nana arthe koy. So it's Krishna tulya Bhagavatam. There is no difference between Srimad Bhagavat and Krishna. In first canto, this shloka comes that the sages are asking Sutta Goswami that what bruhini bruhi karmani shrotavyani vibhagasa ata sadho trayat saram samudritya manisha bruhi bhadraya bhutanam yena atma suprasiddhati. So they're asking Sutta Goswami that there are so many prescribed spiritual activities. Vedas, they have three main kandas: Upasana Kand, Gyan Kand, and Karma Kand. So Karma Kand is basically you see someone wearing lockets, or someone doing some pujas for the planetary forces. So Karma Kand and all that. Gyan Kand is knowledge, and Upasana Kand is bhakti or service. So these three kandas are majorly there in Srimad in the Vedas. And so the sages are asking that there are so many prescribed activities in this scriptures, but what is the best prescribed spiritual activity one can do to rise immediately to the level of bhakti? So Sutta Goswami replies that Srimad Bhagavatam is the best is the best mode of is one of the best modes to realize God, or to reach to God consciousness. So every day we have Srimad Bhagavatam classes in our temple, and we're discussing this. So yeah, and Bhagavatam also, there are two kinds of Bhagavatam: book Bhagavatam, person Bhagavatam. So person Bhagavatam are all you devotees who have come after Bahuna Janmana Vante. So after lifetimes, you've finally chosen to come and take shelter of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath, and that makes you also Bhagavatam. So I bow down at your lotus feet and take blessings to start Srimad Bhagavatam class and discuss something about the shloka which we've been given. So Prabhupada points out in this purport that Lord Shiva's residence is not on this planet. It is somewhere in the spiritual world, and Brihad Bhagavatamrita and other scriptures say that Lord Shiva resides in Shiva Loka, and it's in the northeastern side of Vaikuntha, just below Golok, and it says that after passing through 8 material coverings and after crossing the Viraja, Viraja is a river which divides the material world and the spiritual world. The planet Brahma, the planet of Lord Brahma, the highest material planet, after passing that, one comes to the planet of Lord Shiva, called Shiva Dham. One portion of which is called Mahakal Dham, which is enveloped in darkness. Interpreting this portion of Shiva Dham, there shines Sadashiv Lok. So Lord Shiva's planet, half of it is submerged in darkness, whereas the other half, where Lord Sadashiva, who is non-different from Vishnu, he's Vishnu's incarnation. He resides, and he's in golden complexion. So usually we see that Lord Shiva is covered in ashes, and he's Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendra Haram. So he's Karpura Gauram, means he's white in complexion. He resides in the Sadashiv in Mahakal Dham, whereas Sadashiv, who's Narayan's incarnation, he resides in Sadashiv Lok, and he's golden in complexion, where he lives with all the opulence and all with his family and his associates, and he's living in all luxury, and he has a lot of maid servants serving the couple, Lord Shiva and Devi Parvati, and they're always engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord, propagating Krishna consciousness. So there shines Sadashiv full of great light. The Shiva Dham is situated on the boundary of material and spiritual world. It's 3/4 portion lying in spiritual realm and 1/4 portion lying in material realm. Here Lord Shiva resides with in his eternal form as Sadashiv. So this is basically the geographic placement of Lord Shiva's abode, and so Prabhupada says that that from this planet, when all the demigods are passing, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Kinnaras and Urugavas, when they are passing from this planet, Sati sees them, and Sati sees them discussing Prajalpa. They conversing about the great sacrifice which Daksha has conducted, and Sati desires to go there. This and Prabhupada says this is a natural inclination of a woman, that even we see that women are more inclined towards dressing up, more. Mataji is conversing of from where did you get this sari, or from where did you get this gopi dress from, or you look so nice. So women have this inclination of dressing up, going out, socializing. And Sati thought that all my sisters are going, and Sati is newly married, so she says that all my wives have all my sisters would be there, and it would be a great opportunity for me to catch up with them and meet up with them after such a long time. I would meet my mother and everyone. And Lord Shiva tells her that your father and I are not in good terms, and your father has not invited us. So he has purposely not invited us, so it's not just, or it's not nice for us to go. So Lord Shiva asks Sati not to go, and but Sati insists, and we can see that sometimes when it's like when Lord Krishna, eternally we are all Krishna conscious living entities, and in the spiritual world, when we are with the Lord, we see that the Lord is feasting and the Lord is enjoying, because Krishna, one of his qualities is that he's the supreme enjoyer. So he's enjoying, and the jivas, conditioned souls, when we develop this envy, that why is Krishna enjoying? What's wrong in me? Why am I not enjoying? We see Krishna having 56 offerings in a day, and we say that, my Lord, even I want to have 56 offerings. And the Lord says that you don't have the digestive system to digest 56 offerings, 56 preparations. You won't be able to digest it. And we say, no, Lord, we still want to have it. We want to enjoy. We just don't want to see you enjoy, but we also want to enjoy. Then the Lord creates this material world. The Lord says that you won't be able to enjoy. It's just not your nature. The nature of the jivas is to serve. Even in this material world where we are, we see that when we grow up, we serve our parents. Then we get married, and we serve our wife. We serve the community. And if someone does not have anyone to serve, they have a pet dog. Early in the morning, they're taking the dog, and the dog is passing stool, and then the person is cleaning that stool and serving the dog. So Prabhupada would say it's better to serve God rather than dog. So that's the natural inclination. Everyone wants, the greatest need for someone is to be loved and to love someone. What is love? Prabhupada translates bhakti as loving service or devotional service. So love is basically service. When you love your wife, you take care of her. You take care of her needs. That is service. You're serving. So the natural inclination of the jiva is to serve. Krishna is in the Sevya Vimhan, and we are supposed to be the enjoyer, and Krishna is supposed to be the enjoyer. So when we say that, when we forget that natural subhav, our real tendencies, and we falsely want to adapt to the tendency which Krishna has, which is of being the enjoyer. Krishna creates this material world, and where we come, we suffer. Where over there we were easily getting the remnants of the Lord. 56 offerings we were getting as the remnants. Once the Lord eats, we get the remnants. But here you have to work. You have to grow the crops. You have to grow the rice. Sometimes the crops the harvest might not go well, but you have to harvest the crops. You have to struggle. You have to cook it. You have to boil it. You have to get salt. You have to go to Coles, get the groceries, cook everything, and then eat, and then wash your dishes. So all this struggle, all of it just because we decided that we want to enjoy separately from God. And God warned us that you won't be able to enjoy. How many of us can say that we've never had any suffering in our entire life? Failing an examination is such a big suffering. Even a slight cut is like such a big suffering. So suffering is something which is there in the material world, and it's the nature of this material world. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, "Dukhalayam ashashvatam," that this material world is a complete is an abode of suffering. Once a society comes to Srila Prabhupada and they say that, Prabhupada, we have this society and we believe that this material world is this world is such a beautiful place, and where everyone can live so nicely, and it's very nice. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful world, they said. And Prabhupada said that if you light an incense stick in the bathroom will not become a temple. So Prabhupada gives this analogy that just by lighting an incense stick in the bathroom doesn't become a temple, because this is the material world. No matter how much a person may want to endeavor to have a comfortable life, they will not be able to have it, because this is the nature of the material world. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. So this analogy of Lord Shiva stopping Sati from going to the fire sacrifice of Daksha. This analogy can be drawn, and a parallel comparison can be made that just like how Lord Shiva is stopping Sati, the Supreme Lord asked us jivas not to go because he knew that we won't be able to enjoy, but we are coming here, we are suffering, and that's what Sati also also happened in Sati's life. She went to the sacrifice of Prajapati Daksh, where Prajapati Daksh started blaspheming her husband, and listening to that, she self-annihilated herself and gave up her life. And it is said that Krishna misses us. Lord Shiva, when he got to know that his wife has burnt herself in the fire sacrifice, he was raging in anger. He, from his dreadlocks, he created Bhadrakali and Veerbhadra and asked them to devour the sacrifice of Lord Shiva. And he missed Sati like anything. And it is said that Lord Krishna misses the jivas. He wants the jivas to come back. And that's why he sends Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. He sends the spiritual master to help us to become, to look towards the path of spirituality. He sends Shastras like Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Tulya Bhagavat, so that we can, as we were Bahirmukh, we can Samukh, we can face the Lord, we can face the spiritual journey, and we can walk on it. The Shastras give us guidelines. So there is this verse by Rupa Goswami, I think by Rupa Goswami, Shruti Smriti Puranadi, Pancharatrim Vidhi Bina. The verse, I'm not able to remember the verse clearly, but it is said that spiritual activities performed without following the prescribed prescriptions of the scriptures is just like a disturbance in the society. So Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Sadhu are the saints, the spiritual enlightened beings who are already on the path of spirituality. So Krishna, because he misses us, he sends Guru and Sadhu and Shastra so that we can look towards spirituality, and we can walk on the path of spirituality and ultimately go back to Lord. And Krishna says that न तद भाषते सूर्यो न शशांको न पावक यद गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद धाम परमं मम यद गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते. That once you come to my spiritual world, yad gatva na nivartante, you don't have to come back to the material world. Whereas if you are inclined towards doing some spiritual activities, abrahma bhuvana loko punaravarti no harchana, that if you're inclined towards doing some religious activities, let's say you've done pious activities, you're able to make it to the Swarga. Once your pious credits are finished, you have to come back. So there's a difference between good activities and devotional activities. So you might be, it's like, good activities are compared, philanthropy is compared to this, that, there's a very rich person, there's a very rich person who went to a fair. A fair is like a mela. He goes to the mela with his son, and the son unfortunately is lost. The hand slips and the son is lost in the fair, and now the son is crying for the father. Now you meet the son, and now you've got three options. The son, that the son has not eaten anything, and you know that because the son is has separated from his father, you can either give him some money so that he can take that money, buy some clothes or something to keep himself comfortable, or the best is you can just reconnect him with his father. So out of these three options, what do you think is the best? Connecting him to his father, because the father is a rich man, he can obviously provide him with all these three things naturally. So philanthropy is like, if you give a person some food, if you give a person some clothes, that is nice, but the best is just connect him back to his father, God, and all three purposes will be met. Now, when we say this, we are not rejecting the idea of actually doing charity. We support the acts of charity. It's in the mode of goodness. We support recognizing people's or other person's suffering. But at the same time, we have to see that, it's like you're taking care of the cage very nicely, but the bird inside is starving. So you're taking care of the body of the person, but what about the soul? It said that teach a man, give man, we vegetarians, but give man a fish for a day, and teach the man how to fish. It's like, bhakti is like, you are teaching the person how to take care of themselves. So spirituality is that path. And here we see that when a parallel analogy which is drawn, that when a person looks towards the path of spirituality, looks towards knowledge, the person walks on it and then perfects their life. So over here, we see that the dresses and bodily features of the wives and heavenly denizens are very nicely described here. We see that Sutta Goswami, Sukdev Goswami, they are in a crowd of all the saints, and many of them have not even looked at how a woman, at a woman's body. But Sukdev Goswami is actually describing the ornaments on the body of these women and describing them, their physical appearances, and how they're happily frolicking and conversing with their husbands. So why is he doing this? He's highlighting the beauty of their physical appearance, because it's like, if the spiritual spark is so, if the spark is so nice, imagine how beautiful would the fire be. This pastime comes in Prabhupada's Leela, that Prabhupada's pastimes, that once Prabhupada was invited in a country, and he was getting off from the plane, and all the brahmachari disciples of Prabhupada were actually dancing and celebrating that Prabhupada has come to the country after so long. So they were celebrating, and this person who's new, who just got into brahmachari ashram, so everyone stepped down, and air hostess also stepped, following which Prabhupada came, and the air hostess was very beautiful. So he was looking at this woman, and everyone was chanting Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, and this person was looking at this woman, and then suddenly this woman is going, and this person is looking, and suddenly he sees Prabhupada right behind him, and Prabhupada said, beautiful, isn't she? And he was so embarrassed, in front of his guru, he's caught looking at a woman, and embarrassingly he said, maybe Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada says that, if the spark is so beautiful, imagine how beautiful if the creation is so beautiful, imagine how beautiful the creator would be. So this is, if women in the, from the Gandharva and Yaksha families are so beautiful, imagine how beautiful would the Supreme Lord be. Imagine how beautiful would the spiritual world be. And this verse is also there, which describes the beauty, the bodily form of Lord Krishna. It says, Vam bahu krita vam kapolo valkrita bror adararpita venu komalanguli bhir ashrita margam gopyairajati yatra mukunda. That Krishna on his left hand, he's holding, you see Gopinath every day, he's so beautifully dressed by the pujaris here, and he looks so beautiful. Our clothes, recently black is the new fashion, men in black, everyone wants to wear black, but Krishna has this natural bluish blackish complexion. Over here Gopinath is white, because he sometimes Krishna is, when he thinks about Radharani so much, he turns into golden complexion, and that is why Krishna over here, Gopinath, is actually the same in the same complexion as Srimati Radharani, because he's thinking about Radharani, and he's in remembrance of Radharani so much that he just took the complexion of Srimati Radharani. But usually Krishna is bluish and black in complexion, and on his left hand, he's holding the flute, and he's playing his flute, and with his eyebrows, among his friends, when he's playing the flute, the river starts flowing in the opposite direction. The moving starts, the non-moving things starts moving, and the moving stops moving. So, the deers which are moving, they are just stunned, just like painted pictures. They're looking at Krishna's beautiful form and listening to the beautiful flute. and the cows in ecstasy, they're giving the milk, and listening to with their cup-like ears, they're listening to the flute of Lord, and they're giving milk. But the calves are so enamored by the beauty of Krishna that they forget to drink milk, and the rocks melt when Krishna plays his flute, and he's showing his friends that with his eyebrows he's indicating, look towards there, the river stopped moving. Look towards that, the cow is stunned. Look towards the deer, it's stunned like a painted picture. So Vama Bahu Krita Vama Kapolo Valkrita Pro Adhararpita Venu. So with his eyebrows he's indicating that look at this, look at this, look at this. It's all because of my flute. And Komal Anguli Bhir Ashita Margam, that he's actually with his soft fingers he's playing his flute, and the bamboo trees feel themselves to be so fortunate that my son bamboo, I cannot touch Krishna, but my son in the form of the bamboo flute is so beautifully being massaged by Krishna. Actually, gopis say that this flute is like we don't like this flute because this flute is making Krishna serve him. Krishna is constantly massaging this flute. So the jivas are supposed to serve Krishna, but this flute is making Krishna serve him. So Komal Anguri Bhir Ashita Margam Gopya Rajati Yatra Mukunda, and that's how Krishna is actually frolicking and passing his days in the groves of Vrindavan, in the pastures of Vrindavan. So these descriptions are given so that we actually are stimulated, Udipan. We are stimulated and we are drawn towards the beauty of Krishna. And once we are drawn to the beauty of Krishna, the rest of the world seems worthless. That's why we see that we see so many brahmacharis. They're in saffron. They've given their life to Krishna. They've decided that they're actually attracted to Krishna's beautiful form, and this is the attraction which everyone should aim for. Getting attracted towards the path of spirituality, getting attracted towards the beautiful form of the Lord. And in Krishna consciousness, it's actually good because in other philosophies you have to just meditate on the light, the formless light, or there are Zen meditations where you just have to look at the crack. There's a crack between on the floor, and you just have to meditate on it for 12 hours. But that's not the natural inclination. Our eyes are made in such a way that we are drawn to beautiful things. And Krishna consciousness is kind of dovetailing our tendencies in an amazing way. There are, Radhanath Maharaj talks about this devotee, that he knows a devotee who is very much Kshatriya in nature. So he worships Lord Narsinghdev. And Radhanath Maharaj asks him that, what about Radha Krishna? What about the beautiful form of Radha Krishna? He says maybe some other life, but this lifetime is for Narsinghdev. And he worships for his deities, his Narsinghdev deity, for hours in a day. And Maharaj said that when Maharaj went to his house, he saw that he was giving sharpened knives and swords and bows and arrows and rifle. He also saw him giving his Narsinghdev rifles, just to dovetail the materialistic things, rifles and the namchucks and other common ammunitions to Lord Narsinghdev, so that just dovetailing his materialistic tendencies. So in this Krishna consciousness, we've got so much to actually dovetail and so much to enrich ourselves with. We've got beautiful prasad to feast your belly with. You've got beautiful pastimes of Lord to hear. You've got beautiful forms of the deities to look at. Once there was a person who challenged Prabhupada. He said that, Prabhupada, all your life you've thought that God exists. What at the fag end of your life you realize that God doesn't exist? Prabhupada said, I still won't have any regrets. I know that God exists, but just for the sake of the argument, I won't have any regrets because I had the best festivals to celebrate. Starting, we have Pushya Abhishek in January, we've got Nityanand Trayadashi in February, we've got Gaur Purnima in March, we've got Ram Navami in April, May Narsingh Chaturdashi in May, June Snan Yatra, July Rath Yatra, August Radhashmi, Balram Purnima, Jhulan Yatra. Then November Kartik starts. December we've got the Bhagavad Gita marathon. So we've got so many festivals. I got the best music to listen to. We've got Prabhu like Shrin Prabhu who does such soulful Shuddh Harinam Sankirtan. I got the best music to listen to. We've got preachers like Bhava Prabhu, Nasimha Prabhu, the best philosophy to listen to, best deities to look at. And he said that I won't have any regrets even if God doesn't exist. But now, I flip the question. All your life, you thought that God doesn't exist. What, at the fag end of your life, you realize that God actually existed? Believe me or not, the person actually bought a Bhagavad Gita, read it, became a devotee and joined Hare Krishna movement. So, I think it's almost time. We should end here. It's the point being that, it's very important to actually follow the path. Till whatever extent we can, we should come to the path of spirituality, associate with devotees, and look and start our Krishna conscious journey. In Hindi, there's a saying, "Manav Janm Anmol Hai, Mati mein na rol hai." It's like, it's very rare to get this human form. Now that we've got this human form, we should focus on practicing Krishna consciousness. We should focus on spirituality. Dogs, cats, and jackals cannot do this. They are busy in eating, mating, defending, and sleeping. But in this human life, we've got this opportunity that we can question our existence. We can question what is beyond eating, what is beyond sleeping, what is beyond mating and defending. We can question why are we in this world. And that when we question, Atato Brahma Jigyasas, when we question about the existence of ourselves, we are naturally, and when we reach this culmination that I am a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and I'm a servant, and Krishna is the master, and I'm supposed to serve him. And that is the starting of our spiritual journey, and we should really prioritize that in our life. Any questions, comments, or suggestions? We've got 10 minutes. Sure, Prabhuji. I'll try. Mm-hmm. Bhaktya mam abhijanatu. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that only by bhakti one can fully know you. And it's very good. From an example, I can try to explain this. That a doctor can, if with an individual, it's the level of, I'm talking about the level of intimacies a person can actually be in with a person. So you've got a friend. They might know you till a certain extent. You've got a doctor who, if he asks you that, I want to examine you, you have to strip. So the doctor can go till a certain limitation, a certain intimacy level. But your wife, who's serving you, brahmacharis, this is not an example for the brahmacharis, but still, if your wife is serving you, your wife is taking care of you. When you are hungry, she feeds you. When you are sick, at times she might even reprimand you that I told you that it's cold. Why did you go without jacket? And she can also, the intimacy level with your wife is to a certain extent. It's the most compared to others. Even your mother can actually have a certain limit, can go up to a certain limit. But your wife who's serving you constantly will have that access to your heart. She'll know your heart, she'll know your likes, dislikes, and she'll know you the best. A scientist might try to know, this person has a brain, this person has a heart, but he will not be able to touch your heart. A doctor will be able to dissect you, will be able to examine you, but not till that level of intimacy of that relationship which your wife has with you. So similarly, Gyan Yoga is like, contemplating whether okay, God is this, God is that, the Sankhya philosophy and everything. Karma Yoga is okay, I'll work. But Bhakti Yoga is Sarva Dharman Parityagya. I'm surrendering to the Lord. I'm serving the Lord. It's like you are getting married to the Lord. You are brahmacharis. You've just given yourself to the Lord. That is the greatest in path of Bhakti Yoga. That is like you've surrendered. Sarva Dharman Parityagya Mamekam Sharanam Raja. So that is the greatest level of intimacy you have with Krishna. So it is actually Krishna himself draws these comparisons in Bhagavad Gita, and then he tells Arjuna that Bhaktya Mam Abhijananto, that only through the path of bhakti can one realize me, because that is the relationship, and that is the most intimate relationship you can have with God, loving God. Your wife loves you. That is why she established that relationship of intimacy. A doctor does not love you. A doctor is just waiting for you to just pay your medical bills. And a scientist is just intrigued by your lungs and heart. But the wife, we're trying to become the wives of the Lord in that sense. Does that answer your question? So comparison is there. Krishna himself is drawing these comparisons. Yes, but we shouldn't be proud about it that, because I'm practicing bhakti and the other person is in the level of jnana, or some other person might be on the level of karma, he's inferior to me. We should realize that yes, the path which I've got by the mercy of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra is the supreme, but we should not get proud about it. But yes, there are comparisons. Krishna himself draws these comparisons in Bhagavad Gita. Not all roads lead to the same. If you have to come to the North Sydney temple, if you take a light rail for Kensington, you will not reach the North Sydney temple. You will reach North Sydney temple if you actually take the train to North Sydney and then take a bus to 2:30 to the temple. So comparisons are there. Am I right, or am I going astray from the philosophy? I'm trying to answer, but if you've got seniors, you can consult them after the class. Any other questions, comments, or suggestions? Yes. I'm delusioned by you asking this question from me. A devotee like you asking this question from me. I mean, Prabhu, I look up to you, and I think that, Shirin Prabhu and all you brahmacharis, you have so much love for Krishna. May someday I become like you. And I'm answering this question for you, wouldn't really. But, so, it's Prabhupada, because he's the Jagadguru, so he gives this analogy that, there's like, so a person comes to Prabhupada and says, Sadhu, Prabhupada, it's written, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. That just by a moment of association with a pure devotee, you Sarva Siddhi Hoy, you get the love of God. But we've been associating with you for such a long time, but we've not developed that pure love for God. So Prabhupada said, there's this dry grass, and there's this wet grass, and there's this green grass. Three things. So dry grass catches fire immediately. Green grass burns for some time. It's a bit difficult, but it catches fire. And wet grass takes even more time. So it's not that the fire is not capable of burning the grass, but it's the grass's incapability of actually getting burnt. So Prabhupada would say that, but the thing is that if even the wet grass or even the green grass is continuously in contact with fire, ultimately they will also, that will also burn. So, but the dry grass catches fire immediately. So Prabhupada would say that, because of our material conditioning, we might take some time to actually realize and be in that mood of constant remembrance of the beautiful form, qualities, aspects of Krishna's personality, because of our conditioning, because we are wet grass right now, wet by the material conditioning we have. But um, the the thing is that just like in jaundice, even the sugarcane juice seems bitter, but the only cure for jaundice is just keep drinking sugarcane juice, and that acts as a medicine to jaundice, and then ultimately that you feel the sweetness of the sugarcane juice. So continuing what you are doing, Prabhu, and you're doing it so nicely. Like when I see you perform, when I see you distributing books, when I see you serving Krishna, I'm so motivated by you, and I look up to you. So continue doing whatever you do, and then I won't call you wet grass, but it's your humility that you're asking your question, so that I am able to remind myself. But yes, that is the way that just associating and keep engaging in bhakti, we will actually be in that mood. Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. There are three levels of devotees. So uh, yeah, we can get on that level, that continuously we'll be in the past times. We'll think about the form. We'll have that nam ruchi. We'll have that attachment, asakti towards the Lord. Tatha sadho sangha bhajan kriya narta nivriti, and then the stages of bhakti. So that is the way. Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. I um, I'll try to answer your questions. As usual, your questions are the most trickiest, are the trickiest ones to answer. But still, um, the Shiva Loka is partly in the spiritual world, partly in the material world. It is not mentioned here that Sati is looking at the denizens of heavenly planets from, if she's looking from the Sadashiv Dham or Mahakal Dham. But to my limited understanding and my mental speculation, maybe she's looking, maybe they are in the Mahakal Dham, from where Sati can actually see the material manifestation. She can see uh, living entities traveling. That's how I would answer. It's not mentioned here, so I cannot confirm, but that's what I think. I might be wrong. You can ask senior devotees like Nasim Prabhu. Maybe he can tell you. I don't know what Urukas is, so if you're asking that. Was that your question? Urukas? No, I don't know Urugasa, who Urugasa, but I know that they, just like Gandharvas, neither are they pure demigods, neither are they humans, but they're above us in as far as human species or divine species are concerned. I don't know what Urugasa, but I can look it up and let you know. Yeah. Any other questions, suggestions, comments? Okay. Thank you so much. We stopped at 9:03 on time. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaved Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to